So I was talking with my mom the other day. God bless her. She'll never understand what the dating life is like in your 30s. She said to me, she said, I was talking about it with your dad, and I don't get it. Like, when we met, we were just in love. Like, I didn't care what he drove, how much he makes, what he does for a living. I'm like, Mom, you met Dad when you were 21. At 21, my only requirement was you had to be hot. That's it. Now I got a whole list of requirements.
I'm not gonna cry on the camera, but just to think about it, that as a single mom to date, it is actually the most difficult thing to do. Like, I am super picky. Like, I cannot, obviously, like with kids, you cannot just date anyone, but man, like, I really just want to give up.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel. So glad to have you here. Today we have a really good video that is showcasing of how women keep increasing their standards as they get older, which is something of a paradox on itself. But let's get started, guys. Let's hear these women out and let's figure out one of the many reasons, but one of the biggest nonetheless, why dating nowadays is screwed.
Let's talk all things dating. And guys, it like kind of tears me up because I just wish things were different, but they're not. And this is actually single mother edition. So if you're not a single mother, keep scrolling. So as I sit in my car, I get a little emotional, and I'm not about to cry because that's not my personality. I'm not going to cry on the camera, but just to think about it, that as a single mom to date, it is actually the most difficult thing to do. Like, I am super picky. Like, I cannot, obviously, like with kids, you cannot just date anyone, but man, like, I really just want to give up. I'm like...
Yeah, so it makes sense that you have to be picky because, of course, you have children and you have to think about them and the person you're going to bring into both your lives. We men don't have a problem with you necessarily being picky, but rather with the things you are picky with. Meaning, you're not picky in the sense of, oh, I need a man who is really moral, who treats his family well, because this way I can see he'll make for a good father. You're not picky with the moral stuff, the ethical stuff, the behavioral stuff. No, you are picky with he has to be rich and he has to be attractive, right? That is the problem. And also the order of things, meaning if you are picky before you get married and you say, I want a man who'll make for a good husband, I want for a man who'll make a good father in the future. If you had applied that, you wouldn't be a single mother right now. And now that you're a single mother, now that you've already screwed up one marriage, one family, now you are picky. And again, not for the right reasons.
Minutes away from just giving up from dating, just because the men that I've dated are so nonchalant, and more than nonchalant, they're dismissive. I don't know if it's just because we're like in this broke generation or...
All right. Here's the proof, all right? If someone thinks that when I'm making these videos, I'm just pulling arguments out of my arse and I'm not, I'm just scoping, I'm just blabbering. No, here's the actual proof. Oh, all the guys I've dated are nonchalant and dismissive and they don't care. Wait a minute, but didn't you say you were extremely picky? So why would you date them in the first place, right? Notice how the things they say, the philosophies they try to portray in their videos are not the ones they actually follow. Because if you were really picky, you wouldn't have dated all those men who were dismissive and didn't care in the slightest, right? You would have told what kind of person they are and you wouldn't have wasted your time with them. But that's what I'm telling you guys. She's not picky with good behavior. She's just picky about attractiveness, genes, how often they go to the gym, and money. That's it. That's what she's picky about. So I'm feeling no sympathy. And then again, it's funny when these women talk about this broken generation, you know, it's this generation, which I'm not part of course. No, you are part of it. You are one of the many single mothers in this epidemic we have of single mothers. You are one of the many women over 30 who are single. Again, in this epidemic we have of them. So you are part of the problem, all right? Don't talk about this broken generation as if it's someone else's fault that you are at this place, you know? Never taking accountability, these women, guys.
I'm just dating the wrong men, but it's just sad out here. Super sad. And it's crazy because, like, I come from a background of being a Pentecostal Christian. I never seen, it's crazy, I've never seen so many sad, broken, I mean, like, we're all, like, obviously we're all going through something, but is just different experience. Like, from what I saw in church to what I'm seeing out here, and I haven't been in church for a while, but it just makes me actually want to get out of the dating scene and really just focus on myself. And I'm sharing this because I know that when it comes to dating as a single mom, I'm not in this on my own. And for a fact, I know I'm not the only one seeing what's going on in this generation. But if you have any feedback, or if you have like anything that adds value to what I'm going through, I would.
Misery loves company has never been a more true statement than in this case. And it kind of shows your colors that you're not wanting advice, you just want someone to reaffirm you, you know? You just want to cope harder because you want to see other people in the same miserable situation as you are. You're not asking for advice, married women who know how to keep their marriages or who know how to look for good men. No, you're asking all the single mothers. You know, it's like, if you're having problems with money, instead of asking someone who knows how to handle money, you go and ask the homeless person under the bridge, just so you can feel a little more validated and reaffirmed. So again, this whole TikTok, this whole concept of making TikToks crying about our problems, guys, it's never because they want advice or they want to better anything. It's just because they want to feel validated so they can go to sleep better and then make the same TikTok tomorrow.
Appreciate if you left any comments. All I have to say is don't deal with these dismissive people. Don't deal with nonchalant men. You are better off being alone than dealing with that. What I'm getting from like all of that for me is like, I rather chase God. I rather chase my goals, my dreams, my aspirations than being stuck in this like situation for sometimes a really long time. Because if a person's going to be dismissive, they're showing you that you don't matter. And it's maybe not even so much because that's how they want to treat you, is because they have something within their heart that they have to deal with. So leave your feedback. It's always needed. Sorry, I got a little emotional, but I guess that's life.
So this particular TikTok ends right here. We have one more, but before we move on, the thing about single moms being a red flag is that, first off, you are divorced, meaning that you already have that in the back of your mind. What's stopping you from getting a second divorce? Second off, it's just a lot of complexity and problems, you know, to take care of another child that is not yours. So you always have that where guys prefer a woman that is not a single mother. But even in these cases, guys, of single mothers, if they were actually good people, like good wives, etc., they wouldn't have these problems. Like, if we firsthand assume that you are a good woman that has been looking for a good man, well, probably you wouldn't be divorced, you know, to start with. But even if you were divorced and you were a good wife, well, that just means that, hey, maybe the man decided to divorce you, maybe the man cheated on you and you had to divorce him, maybe you're a widow, maybe the man did a 180 on his personality and he's not good to be around anymore. I understand that, but it just, You know, these women show their true colors when they get a divorce and they continue dating and they continue picking the dismissive man. All right, it's like we can't give you any benefit of the doubt because you're just repeating the same mistakes all over again. It's not, you can't sell me this narrative of, oh yeah, I got divorced for natural reasons, but now that I'm dating, I'm just picking bad men all the time for years at a time. It doesn't, it doesn't make any sense. If you knew what you're chasing after, if you really wanted a good person to be around your kid, you could go for one. But again, these women are not prioritizing good guys. I mean, hell, you even go to church, right? The whole thing with people there trying to be more moral, trying to have different paths. Now, I'm not saying that's the case. I'm just saying people supposedly go there for that. So, I don't know, why don't you look in church, for example? But I'm sure, guys, she's just using the Tinder, trying to meet with the chads. Of course, dismissing most guys just to get with the attractive ones. And then she wants to sell this narrative that, oh, woe is, always, forget about that. Woe is me. I just have it so hard. I don't believe you. But now, guys, let's move on to our second woman and leave me your thoughts about the first one down below.
So I was talking with my mom the other day. God bless her. She'll never understand what the dating life is like in your 30s. She said to me, she said, I was talking about it with your dad, and I don't get it. Like, when we met, we were just in love. Like, I didn't care what he drove, how much he makes, what he does for a living. I'm like, Mom, you met Dad when you were 21. At 21? My only requirement was you had to be hot. That's it. Now I got a whole list of requirements. It's like, Mom,
Right, stop it right there before she says more stupid things. That is not the same as the case with your mother. Your mother said she was in love, not that he was hot, alright? So it's not the same. Your mother actually did the right thing, which is prioritizing love, which incorporates both people treating each other with respect, being loyal, thinking about a future together, alright? That is not the same as you sleeping with the chads. She mentions, oh, it was my only requirement, as if it's something good. No, your only requirement being that he has to be a chad that will only use you as a piece of meat is not a good, thing to want. It is not a good prioritization. I don't understand how this woman can make so little sense. But again, it really shows the difference between women in the past, in general, and women today. And I'm really happy that, a woman always wants a provider, and that's a good thing. But it's not the most important thing in the end. And I think one of the most beautiful things on earth is to grow in a marriage, meaning you both started at a low point and you grew together. You bought things together. You painted the walls of the house together. I think it's one of the most fulfilling things on earth, rather than just go for the guys who are already extremely rich and there's practically nothing else to achieve. But these women, guys, I don't know why I'm telling this. They're so far from the idea of actually wanting men for love and not just... Notice how she's just using them. When she's younger, she uses guys for their attractiveness. Now that she's older, she wants to use them for their money, and for their providing and to not be alone. It's just women like these, they don't see you as people. They don't see you as a person. They don't understand the concept of a family. They don't understand commitment. They just want a retirement plan if they're older. If they're not so old, they just see you as a good deal. It's a good contract. I mean, you get into a marriage with someone who's going to pay the bills. You're not going to be crying yourself to sleep every time, It's a contract that benefits them. And then if it stops benefiting them, they can divorce him and still get a contract. They still get benefited from breaking that contract, So that's what they want, guys. They see you as just a magical genie that brings good things upon their lives. They don't see you as a person. And this is why I often mention if a woman is over 30 and she's still single, it's like 99.9% of the cases, she's going to die alone, right? If she wasn't able in 10 years or more to understand how a family works, to understand dating and what a man wants and how to be a good girlfriend, she's not going to do it from 30 to 40. And in this case, it's too late. This woman has no idea what men want. She views them only as objects to benefit from. She's been chasing around Chad for the last 10 years. Coincidentally, now that she's 30, coincidentally, guys, just what a coincidence. It's always the same. When they get to 30, then they start to think about commitment. Then their requirements increase from, I just want him to be hot and clap me to get some validation, to, oh, I want a really, good guy. I want a strong bond together. Meaning, in the meantime, they don't know the first thing about a strong bond. All right, so massive red flag. This is one of the women that, even before opening your mouth, you already know she's a red flag because she's over 30. But now that she actually mentioned her philosophy, it's massive red flag. Let's continue.
You had to be hot. That's it. Now I got a whole list of requirements. It's like, Mom, do you know what damage I've been through? Do you know what shit I've been through? Do you know how many times a guy has let me down?
There it is, guys. Now that she has all the trauma, now that she has no longer patience, now that her body has decayed because of time, now that she's been run through by multiple men, now that she's not yours but it's your turn, now she increases her standards. It's so backwards, man. It is just so backwards. Guys, this is why I'm just so happy this whole manosphere red pill exists, because we have to point this out and say that it's crap, it's nonsense, and we're not dealing with this, right? Men innately hate what you just said. Maybe they don't come to the realization that this woman only views them as ATM machines that are walking, but they innately hate it. And in the same way, men innately feel more attracted to women when they're younger. So this whole thing, guys, is just this woman. I can see it already. She's going to pass away alone. Nobody's going to commit. Nobody's going to care about her in the same way that she didn't care about men when she was younger. She has used them then, and she wants to use them now. The only difference is, with Chad, it was mutual. It benefited both parties, because Chad used this woman as recreational purposes. But now, it's not something no longer that benefits both parties. Men don't benefit from dating a woman over 30 who has a lot of trauma, is going to be a pain in the ass all the time, is going to nag about everything, no respect. She has all these new standards and expectations, and now you have to compensate for the last 30 men that have done me wrong because I allow them to, that doesn't benefit men. Men are much happier alone than with you. Men are much happier with an animal in the house than with you, much happier chasing their hobbies, much happier doing their own stuff than saving the life of a woman that decided to trash it in the first place. But guys, just as a last note, props to this female's mother. I really value a woman like that. I'm sure her husband is really happy about it. Notice how they are together. Notice how there are no divorces, no single mothers, no problems. No, because when you start a relationship with love as the priority and growing together and being there for that person, everything is all right. And that doesn't go to say that it's perfect. No, I'm sure her parents have had a lot of problems, a lot of things they had to walk through. But when you love the other person, you're willing to make compromises, you think of him before you think of yourself, you're not a self-absorbed a-hole, everything works, guys. And I don't think it's that hard. I don't think what this woman's mother did is extremely hard, because women nowadays make it look like, oh, guys just have 1,000 standards, we have to be perfect. No, just don't be a bad person. Honestly, it's that basic. Now, notice how it's not impossible, guys. Like, after watching so many women fail at dating, I've become to think that, maybe it's this, like, really hard thing that they have to do. No, it's literally the most easiest thing that millions of women throughout the years have been able to do up until the last 50 years or so. So props to that woman. Really happy. She's making a man happy. She had a good family. Sad to see that the daughter is going to end the bloodline, but hey, you can't ask for everything. Thank you for watching. Really interesting video today. Leave me your thoughts down below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and I'll be happy to see you next time. Have a good one.